Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. Once again, it's time for the daily debate live here on Nile International. I'm Tagreed Hussein and I have the pleasure of your company for the coming hour. As usual, two segments on the show. On the first segment, a very dear part of Egypt that we all cherish. I'm talking here about Sinai and more about the statements that has been released by the Armed Forces spokesman Ahmed Mohammed Ali, who denied the media rumors that the Sinai Peninsula has become a closed military zone and that a curfew was imposed in North Sinai. Those are mere rumors, noting that the current situation in Sinai is under the control of the military and the police. Both the military and the police are working hand in hand and closely in order to ensure security of this important and strategic spot of our dear country, Egypt. So we'll be talking about the Sinai on the first segment of the show. How far is the security situation under control? How to refute rumors that has been spread there in the media? How far are matters controlled in Sinai? That's our first segment on the show. We're going to talk strategically about this dear part of the country. We're going to go right now to a report highlighting the first segment of the show. We'll be talking about Sinai. Is Sinai under control strategically? How far is Sinai Peninsula important to Egypt? And the reality about the situation and not the mere rumors that are sometimes in the press. Stay tuned.
A senior Egyptian police officer was shot and wounded on Tuesday in the recent second attack of its kind on security forces in the country's turbulent northern Sinai region. Security officials said Inspector General Selim Al-Gamal was riding in a police car with other officers in the provincial capital of Al-Arish when attackers in an unmarked white truck opened fire at their vehicle. Officials said Al-Gamal stumbled out of the car after he was shot, and the driver and other officers ran for cover by fleeing the vehicle. Some of the assailants who had fired from the bed of their truck took off with the police vehicle. Later the same day, officials said gunmen ambushed an army truck in the town of Sheikh Zuwayed just outside Al-Arish, stealing the vehicle that had been transporting fuel to nearby bases and checkpoints. Tuesday's attack comes just 3 days after gunmen killed 3 policemen in the same area. Officials said the militants raised the black flag associated with Islamist militants before speeding off. The militants have challenged the state's authority in northern parts of the peninsula, launching almost daily attacks on security forces and enjoying near complete control over towns like Al-Sheikh Zuwayed. On Sunday, Armed Forces spokesman Ahmed Mohammed the Sinai Peninsula has become a closed military zone and that a curfew was imposed in northern Sinai. He added that the current situation in Sinai is under control and that the military are working closely with the police authorities to ensure the security and sovereignty of such a strategic spot in Egypt. Following the incident, Defense Minister Abdel Fattah el-Sisi and Interior Minister Ahmed Gamal al-Din both visited Al-Arish on Sunday afternoon. In a related development, a joint American-Egyptian military delegation traveled to the Sinai resort city of Sharm el-Sheikh on Monday to inspect the security situation. 7 officials were part of the assembly, including the director of the U.S. Office of Military Cooperation, Egypt, and Egyptian Armed Forces Liaison Officer Osama Abdelaziz. On Saturday and Sunday, police officers staged a strike outside the North Sinai Governorate headquarters and blocked the main Al-Arish Rafah highway in protest of the death of their colleagues. They demanded that the head of the North Sinai Security Directorate be removed and the application of emergency laws to return security to the region. Consequently, the Interior Minister dismissed Security Chief General Ahmed Bak and appointed his deputy Sameh Bashandi in his place. Saturday's bloody ambush on the police officers was believed to be a counter-attack following the killing of 3 men by security officers the week before. A group known as Al-Salafiyya al-Jihadiyya said late Monday that their militants were not behind last weekend's attack, although it does not represent all desperate militant groups in Sinai. In an online statement, it said the attack was revenge by locals for an alleged police shooting that left several innocent victims dead. The attacks are the latest in a string of assaults on Egyptian military and police in northern Sinai, where militants have grown emboldened since last year's uprising that left a security void in the Sinai Peninsula.
very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us, and it's still the daily debate. The first segment of the show, we're talking about Sinai in the headlines and talking strategically and also from the point of view of both the military and the police. A very distinctive panel for tonight. We have with us General Hany, our strategic expert. Thank you very much, General Ayman, for being here.
Thank you.
And also General Hany Sedky, who is our security expert for tonight. Thank you very much, General Hany.
My pleasure.
Well, starting off with you, General Ayman, and your readings of the situation and why the situation was like just aggravated in the media in a way or another. Is it because that we need to address more a sense of transparency in dealing with information regarding of what is happening in Sinai?
Yes, I agree with you about we have a lack of information about what's happening in Sinai. And in this time, rumors are coming here and there.
Right.
As we used to deal with in the military actions, we have some announcement. Each time we have an announcement that happened, this happened, and that happened. This didn't happen till now. We didn't hear from the military sources what is going on the land.
Is this due that with the sense of having information until they reach a certain assessment, and then after that they are going to reveal all the information with the consequences? Is it because of the sensitivity of the situation? Why is there up to the present moment not full information regarding the incident?
From my point of view, they didn't till now had a certain plan. And they didn't practice anything on the land. What they have, they had a plan, and then they are going to practice it. There will be an announcement each time that we achieve this and achieve that, and we reach the final decision. Till now, I think they didn't have the decision, and that's why we are living in a vague situation.
Right. General Hany, there was an alleged police shooting actually that has been in the headlines, and some said that this has been like some sort of revenge on behalf of locals. So again, an alleged police shooting in the headlines. Your reading of the involvement of the police?
Well, actually, as a matter of fact, these kind of alleged events are not completely true, because for this incident in particular, it happened to be a vehicle did not stop for a police checkpoint, okay, and went on. So the patrol or the forces who were at this checkpoint, they had to chase it and to see what kind of cargo or what kind of load is upon this vehicle. Okay, of course there are some warning shots first, okay, and in spite of this, the suspect or the people in this vehicle, they did not stop, and they ignored the warnings, and kept on in the high-speed chase. Okay, so it's in a sensitive area, like what's going on, you know, on the international road at Al Arish. It has to be stopped to be checked out and to make sure that the cargo or whatever on this vehicle is not or would not harm the security of the area, because this is not a law-obedient style or a law-obedient way. If you're on the clear, why don't you stop at this checkpoint? So he ignored the warnings. So at that time, the police started to act in such situation, which filling the area and the atmosphere is quite can describe it terroristic or something. Okay, they had to deal with it and shoot at it. Okay, so this is it. But this is the actual event, or the actual
fact.
Yeah, the actual fact, and the allegation that what happened and the killing of another patrol car, okay, downtown Al Arish city, okay, as a retaliation by the public is completely out of sense of it, because we all know
In the benefit of who, General? Which group has the benefit of like spreading such rumors and invoking a sense of chaos?
We all quite aware that the security situation, both strategically and security-wise, is unstable.
Right.
And there are lots of militias and lots of groups, even related to some international terrorist groups, Qada, for example. You see, and they are trying to display a show of power and send a message. You see, that we've come and we're here to stay.
That they can play in the area.
Yeah.
General Ayman, why has those groups, and among them Al-Qaeda, as General Hany was just mentioning, why have they become that emboldened, in a sense, after the revolution?
I think they want to have a place for them to start attacking this or that, and they want to have an area for them to stay on it and see that this area is available for them. And there are no resistance in their country. We have no military units in Sinai, and this is a vital atmosphere for them to work. They want to occupy the land and to put their hands on this area.
General Hany, how are those groups working? What traces are they leaving behind? Are they like in a sense or another, what we can call paid mercenaries who are paid in order to invoke this sense of chaos? From your perspective as a security expert, how do you see them?
I believe that, as I've just mentioned, they are in a show to send a message. We have come to stay. And by the way, since the revolution, there's been a loss of control that escalated by time up till now. Okay, so these groups also found their way, one way or another, to Sinai, and they picked up Sinai in particular, as Sinai geographically, topographically resembles their training back in Afghanistan, and you know, the hard terrain, the mountains, the places that they can find hideouts, and you know, Sinai in particular was the most suitable area in Egypt to practice their illegal activities, and also strategically, Sinai is what I can say has always been apart or being neglected. Okay.
Yeah, you put your hand actually, General Hany, on one of the main key points in the Sinai file. Don't you agree, General Ayman, that the neglection of the file and the mistreatment of Sinai residents has played a very important role, and we are now reaping this fruit of neglection, in sense of neglection for years for that file now?
Yes, I agree with you, and there is two points. The first point is Camp David agreement, which took this part from our country away from the army. When army control over an area, he can adjust it, not to let them do something illegal. But there are no military actions, there are no military units on Sinai, enough to control over it.
Isn't it high time to revise the provisions then?
I think so. I think so. And I think now we are in Sinai, but with small units or little units. But we have to make many things in Sinai. The first thing is to deal with their people themselves, the Bedouin. We have to know their habits and to accommodate with them. This is the first. The second thing, we have to use Sinai as the treasure for Egypt. It is 1/3 of the valley. we have to put them population as the same amount of area. We have to put them 1/3 of the population in Sinai. If we did so, we will have Sinai as another Egypt.
Right, and you mentioned a very important point, General Ayman, which is like accommodating them and containing the people of Sinai. This is actually, this feeling of containment is what they are seeking, and this has been even reflected in meetings where they had called for land ownership of the land, because this is going to make them feel the sense of belonging that we are talking about here.
Yes.
And it is going to reap the fruit later.
They are going to if we practice this, they will feel that they are Egyptian.
Right. They are part of the homeland.
Yes, and we want them to be.
It should be dealt with differently.
Sure.
In what way, actually, do you think it should be dealt with differently? What do you mean by differently?
As a matter of fact, the Camp David Accord, okay, truly violated the security of this piece of land. Okay. By every sense of the meaning of this. You don't have army, or you don't have troops enough to protect this peninsula, and of course with the approving of such situation long time ago, and with the variations that are taking place nowadays, this piece of land is really in jeopardy, and unless a decision should be taken innocently to cover it, I mean security-wise, military-wise, and as a matter of fact, security forces are not equivalent to those terrorist groups trained and been into guerrilla wars, and they have more sophisticated weapons. Actually, any police force to do policing, they are not trained to such kind of wars. Military.
Guerrilla wars, you know.
Guerrilla wars. Guerrilla wars, or street, even street wars.
So what's your suggestion? How can we give our security forces the boost there? How can we other equipment? Do they need a different approach in dealing with those guerrilla groups? Do they need a sense of training that we have to anticipate in the first place?
As His Excellency General Ayman just mentioned, okay, without the strong fist of the army, okay, police force are not a match to the concept of defending this piece of land. You know, with these particular groups who are not meaning well to this country. You see, so when it comes to how to develop a better police force, okay, it's after having the control, army-wise, on this piece of land.
Right. General Ayman, if we talk further about how the military are actually supporting the police, people need to know that there is a sense of support definitely from the military, and that they are working hand in hand for the sake of the security of this dear part of the country.
Yes. The military now is defending the police. It is not his job. Yes. The job for the military people to evacuate these lands from all outlaws. It should be like this. And we have to be serious in this mission. Not to put a big effort for the police to do, which he can't do it. He has special training for something else, except evacuating the outlaws from the land. Second, the land of Sinai is desert, mountains, and towns. Please maybe deal with the towns, with the nations in the towns, but not in the mountains or the caves or something like this. This is the military job.
Right.
He can support the police in the town, but what about the mountains? We should deal with which is...
Yeah, how is this area going to be covered in the
Yes.
strategy? This is another question mark.
Yes. And it should be a plan for this evacuation of all outlaws.
Right. General Hany, could there be some sort of hands out, actually, that are trying to lay their hands on this dear part of the country, trying to invoke chaos, outside hands?
Actually, I didn't get the question right.
Yeah, I mean outside hands, foreign intervention. Are there foreign planners or outside hands that are involved in this sense of chaos that is invoked?
This is obvious because some of the suspects were not Egyptians. Some of
Right.
them were Tunisians, Palestinians, other Arab nationalities, and even foreigners.
And what indication does this give?
Now it's a playground. This is the only comment I can say, because since there are no fences, there are no defenses, there are no matching or even powers in the area. So it's simply a playground to whatever wants to play, whether he's Egyptian or other nationalities, Arab nationalities, foreign nationalities, international nationalities, whatever, call it whatever. It's one big playground, unfortunately.
Unfortunately. General Ayman, why is the playground that General Hany is talking about quite ripe now for such unfortunate incidents? I mean, from the view of a strategic expert, how do you see the timing of those incidents? Why now?
Because all over the last year, the army was busy with other things, and the ground there was empty, and the tunnels, of course, was free to go here and there. Let us go through 1974, when Kissinger said in his book that Israel will be safe if the Arab conflicting each other.
Yeah.
This is a part of his book. Now what we are seeing.
Part of the planning.
Yes, it's a part of the planning. Some of the Arabs, which I don't want to mention them, are dealing through the tunnels to come here and there from Gaza Strip to Sinai and do whatever they want, and then they will return back to Gaza Strip.
Right. General Hany, I don't want to say regaining control of Sinai, because this is what the media is trying to aggravate in a way or another, that the situation is not under control. Tell us the truth about this particular part.
Okay, the truth, it's not under control. To be honest, and we have to
face it.
We have to face it, and we have to not to step into denial that everything is under control.
And what does this mean? What sort of consequences if a decision is not undertaken to put an end to this sense of chaos?
As we just mentioned, security-wise, the people are complaining. The citizens of El Arish, Sheikh Zayed, Rafah, they are not feeling secure at all. They are complaining on a daily basis.
Yeah, they are protesting
and
also
protesting,
in other areas.
and this is also legalizing, from my own point of view, their ownership of weapons. As long as there's no security forces or no policing in the area to defend them or to protect them, they have the right to defend themselves too. Okay?
But the local themselves have been actually complaining of being the crackdowns.
Well, as a matter of fact, that used to be in the past. Okay, in the past. Okay, and nowadays,
but I mean, due to the security
crackdowns,
situation.
to be honest, police forces now are helpless. Needless to say, or not to mention that they need someone to protect over them. That's why they need an army in the area. As His Excellency just mentioned, they are not equipped or trained to fight desert wars or guerrilla wars. This is the specialty of the armed forces.
And General Ayman, how do you see a way out?
The way out to go through this, to face it, we have to plan to evacuate a strip from the border, and let the military actions go through it and evacuate every outlaws from this sector. And then
So surgery, it's like a surgery.
Yes, right. Let us go to 1978. 1986, 87, 88, when we evacuate Said and Somalia and Suez from the nations, so we can fight our mission and free Sinai and then reassemble them again to their country or to their towns. I think this is the best idea, to evacuate a strip, maybe 10 kilometers, maybe 20 kilometers, and deal with all the outlaws and then clean this area from all outlaws and then return them back again to Sheikh Suwaid and Arish.
Right. General Hany, do you agree with what General Ayman is saying?
Completely. Completely.
So you're with the surgery that I was talking about?
It's a long-awaited surgery. As a matter of fact, it has to be done as soon as possible, or the patient got from bed here.
Right. Security-wise, lots of rumors. Why do we hear lots of rumors concerning the performance of the police, especially in Sinai?
As His Excellency also mentioned earlier, the lack of transparency, excuse me, the lack of transparency, lack of information, the uncredible sources of information, and the same old ideology in dealing with the media or in dealing with the public's right to know what's going on. Okay. Besides, I can also say some of the media or the aggravated the information. Okay, so actually we need more transparency.
Right.
Almost even that can apply to the military operation too, because you see
people need to know at the same time. I mean, after the revolution, especially,
you see,
they
and when it comes
the right info,
and when it comes to some sensitive, when it comes to some sensitive segments of investigations that should not be known because it could hurt the investigation, people can okay that. But they are waiting for the results. This is all what we are expecting, to know what is going on.
Right, General Ayman, we're waiting for the results, and everybody is just wanting to understand what is actually going on. And we have summed it actually in more than one way, like this surgery on behalf of the military, like putting into effect, helping the police in a way or another in areas that they were not trained actually to deal with, like this sense of guerrilla wars. We talked also about the human side, which is the most important thing, dealing with Sinai inhabitants, knowing more about their ailments. It's a surgery in another way, or that has been like lagging there behind for years. What can we do now for the people of Sinai? How can they achieve this sense of belonging that they have been longing for years now?
Means that you're asking about how to deal with
to help them.
To help them to make a...
Yeah, amidst this security situation, it's sometimes in a way or another the lack of information. Amidst their security situation itself being challenged, the people, the inhabitants themselves. How can we lend them a hand of help?
if you want to help the people of Sinai, you have to arrange Sinai as a valley. To let Sinai be a part of the valley.
Right.
All the things which are in the towns, in the valley towns, transfer it to them. The agriculture, sell the land to them.
Right. Make them owners.
Owners. And let some projects there.
Yeah, projects of development, let them work, let them feel the land is theirs.
Yes.
Right. For you, General Hany.
I would like to just commend on what His Excellency the General just said. Before all this, these people got to feel secured. You see, because security helps economically, in economy.
What comes after that?
Yeah, investment,
right.
Even loyalty. You know, how come you want me to be loyal without giving me the basic needs of life, security? See, and there comes ownership and
the basic components that we need.
Components of life. Yeah.
Right. Well, Generals, thank you very much for coming. That was a really fruitful discussion. I thank very much General Ayman Hubbeddin, our strategic expert for tonight. Thank you, General Ayman, for being here.
Thank you.
Many thanks also go to General Hany Sedky, our security expert tonight for the daily debate. General Hany, thank you, sir.
You're welcome, man.
Well, we tried to read, ladies and gentlemen, more about the situation in Sinai, and more than one point that we come up, let me sum up like a conclusion of this debate. First, of course, deal with the inhabitants as owners of the land. They need to feel this sense of belonging. Deal militarily and strategically with this important and dear part of the country, this cherished spot, but by what we called a sense of surgery of all outlaws at the area. Supporting the security forces came also another point, and above all, a sense of belonging with the land and with the homeland, and helping the people of Sinai out. Well, stay tuned. The second segment of the show will be talking about a Sukari gold mine, so stay with us.